Hi everyone, this is Balazs from Racing Brick. In today's video, I'm showing you the first, and hopefully not the last, remote-controlled LEGO Technic set of 2023, which is the 42160 Audi RSQ e-tron. I already talked about this set in detail in my previous video, you can find the link somewhere up there, so let's summarize it briefly. The RSQ e-tron is a hybrid off-road vehicle built by Audi for the Dakar Rally. The LEGO set is based on the first edition. This is a serious machine. The front of the box is really promising with this off-road action. Do you think the LEGO version can actually do that? The set has 914 pieces. It is part of the Control Plus family, which means we have app control via Bluetooth. As you can see on the side, we have 3 large motors and the hub inside. Considering the official price of 170 euros or $180, this pack might have the best value so far among these sets. On the back of the box, there is another view of the machine. There you can see the impressive technical details of the original car, the dimensions, and some promising photos of the suspension in action and the 4x4 drivetrain. Let's open the box. As I mentioned, the recommended retail price is 170 euros or $180, and the set will be released on the 1st of August, but I've already seen pre-order prices as low as 135 euros. We get 9 numbered bags with 4 built-in phases, 1 unnumbered bag, the 3 motors, a small cardboard box, and the tires. In the box is the hub. Unfortunately, this is the new version with the screws. We have to live with this one going forward. The usual cardboard envelope has the building instructions, and wow, those are huge sticker sheets, even for a race car. This vehicle will literally be covered in stickers. I guess no visible surface will be left untouched. Since this isn't an 18 plus set, we don't get any additional information at the beginning of the instructions, despite the license. There's a nice double photo at the end, then 2 pages trying to explain the functions of the app, some legal blah blah, and here's the part list if you're interested. There's actually a lot of exciting new stuff here I'm about to show you. Let's start building. We begin the build with the first large motor, and the second one comes right after that. This axle here is the output of the lower motor, and the brown axle will be the output of the upper motor, which uses these 2 gears. That's a pretty massive frame for the differential. Here's the steering rack, then comes the fairly new heavy-duty differential, and one of the novelties, a new, shorter, light bluish gray version of the steering CV joint axle. This was introduced in 2019 in the 4x4 Extreme Off-Roader, and now we get a useful, shorter version for narrower vehicles. We built an interesting support structure for the wishbones. The CV joint pieces are still the same as before. Here is the upper wishbone assembly, and after a few reinforcements here and there comes the other cool new addition of the set, this wheel hub. It is again similar to the 4x4 Extreme Off-Roader's wheel hub, but also different in many ways. It has the same heavy-duty CV connection, integrated ball joints, but shorter arms on both sides, and they aren't placed in the middle. There is another big difference. Unlike the previous version, the new one doesn't have a built-in gear reduction. Mounting is done with the help of this special part, which was introduced only 2 years ago. When we attach the steering links, we can already see how the steering system will work. We use shock absorbers with hard springs for the front suspension. A somewhat unexpected turn of events, a second gear goes on the steering cross-axle, and another steering rack is added to the front, this time upside down. Make sure both racks are in the same position and there's no any strain in the system before adding the parts that hold the front rack in place. 2 more beams to secure the shock absorbers, and our front axle is ready. It seems pretty sturdy and stable, and has a nice suspension travel. I'm looking forward to testing it out. Phase 2 starts with a surprising new color for this 5x7 frame. It's not needed here at all, so I'm wondering where it will be required in red. Any guesses? Let me know in the comments. And if you still have one of those stupidly expensive red manufacturing samples of this part, better get rid of it quickly before these official ones hit the market. The rear axle design seems to be quite similar to the front one. We have the same hubs, but this time there is no steering. This way we provide some extra stability. Here comes the third motor. This is how it is connected to the differential. We use the same red shock absorbers with hard springs. It's a bit difficult to get everything in place. It is time to add the big frame from the unnumbered bag. Then comes the hub. That diagonal beam fits in nicely, and now it's time to put the 2 assemblies together. The instructions give some tips on cable routing, but the blue cable isn't quite visible. I assume they go like this. Then we have to press about a dozen pins into this frame at the same time. Okay, it's less, but it feels like more, and we shouldn't forget the diagonal beam either. As a nice surprise before phase 3, we have to mount the rims and tires. I'm not sure if this is a fan service or it's structurally necessary to do it now, but based on the product photos, I don't think it would be more difficult to do at the end. The rims are new in red and the tires are brand new as well. With a diameter of 81.5mm and a width of 29mm and a super cool tread, I'm sure a lot of people will like them. Previously we only had the tumbler tires using the same rims at a similar diameter, but that one was much wider. Once the wheels are mounted and all the electronics are in, there's only one thing to do: we have to do a test. Before that though, let's take a look at the suspension. The suspension travel is pretty good. It seems to be a bit larger in the front than in the rear, which is easy to see from this angle. I have to unscrew the lid. I miss those simple snap-on days so much. Then I add my 1.5 volts rechargeable batteries for maximum performance, those screws again, and now it's time to set up a quick profiling powered up. Unfortunately, I don't have access to the Control Plus profile yet, but luckily setting up some controls here is pretty easy, despite those strange new code blocks. By the way, with the new version 4.0.3, the hidden blocks are hidden again. It was a bug in the complexity selector that made them visible. The new design has remained. Let's see what comes out of this. The calibration works. The steering works. Yes, that's the speed at which we basically drive the differentials directly with the large motors. It's not spectacular, but hopefully it will leave us with some torque as well for off-road use. Let's keep building. The third phase focuses on the roof first, and here's our first sticker applied after the ones on the hub, of course. Here's the middle section with the distinctive pin, which looks better from one side than the other due to the use of these parts. The geometry here is quite tricky as we have some complex angles and connections at the rear. This rear cover panel is full of stickers and it is held at a specific angle securely by that link piece, a quite interesting solution. It's time to add the front panels, which are full of stickers again, and then we'll continue building the frame on the sides. For the A-pillars, there is a rather tricky solution with a pin with a bar to secure the bottom end. This curved gear rack from the UCS 8080 is new in black. It is used here to simulate the spare tire cover on the sides. This is the last assembly of phase 3. I think the car looks best at this point. Without the side panels, it has a menacing beach buggy look. I like that. I think that's how I'm going to use it. A little weight reduction may even help with performance. I would also like to highlight the completely black and grey and red color scheme. I hope no one will complain about the non-existent color vomit inside. This is the cover panel of the rear part. It's a little tricky to attach. It's probably easier to turn it upside down and then attach it with the pins on both sides, but the end result looks pretty cool. This is the side assembly with the door, but as you can see it's permanently attached to the frame. I don't think we get the butterfly doors of the original. That's understandable, because it's good to have a rigid body instead, and this one is full of complex panels, so it better be stable. Once the side panels are mounted, we will need to attach them from the bottom as well, and yes, this thing seems to be pretty sturdy. We'll cover the front now, and we can expect some geometric tricks here as well. Yep, here we go. It's not so easy to mount these panels. Oh look, so many uncovered pieces. I guess they ran out of room on the sticker sheet. Here's the last panel to add to the front, and we are done. So, here is the model in its full glory, and I have to say I really hated applying all those stickers, but man, the end result is totally worth it. It just looks fantastic. The color scheme is great, the paneling also looks great all around, and when we look at all the different angles, it's pretty true to the original. Just look at the difference between these two LEGO Technic remote-controlled rally cars. The Audi just looks so much better. Okay, it has an advantage with more parts, but still. Since this is a remote-controlled car, we can't really talk about manual functions. All we can test without the app is the suspension. But oh boy, I could play with this one all day. It's soft and bouncy, it feels like a real rally car, it's really addictive. Hit that like button if you know the feeling, and it looks even better in slow motion. Breaking news! I finally got access to the Control Plus app. So here is the profile for the Audi. Let's do the calibration. Interestingly, it's done multiple times to hopefully get a correct reading. Here are the controls, and apparently a left-handed person was the coder again, because I prefer to have the steering and throttle the other way around. Why? Why can't they put in a button to swap these two? Please LEGO, this really shouldn't be a big deal to do. Interestingly, we have a separate button for braking, because apparently the car doesn't stop immediately when you release the throttle, but you have to brake to stop quickly. As I see, this was added to simulate the electric recuperation of the hybrid system, but I'm not sure it's very practical for playing. Here's an extra button that takes us to some facts and information about the real car. Finally! Yes, please keep adding useful things in the app besides these useless challenges. There are those, of course. You can chase virtual targets, but you really need a big open space for that. So, what about performance? Here's a speed comparison with the off-road buggy and the Top Gear rally car in manual shift mode. As you can see, the buggy is still by far the fastest Control Plus set, but the Audi beats the Top Gear rally car. I don't have the 4x4 Extreme Off-Roader in stock form right now, but it was a bit slower than the Top Gear rally car in my big comparison video, so that means the Audi must be faster than that too. If we look at the climbing performance, we have a slope of about 25 degrees here, and both the buggy and the Audi stops at the same spot, so the Audi certainly won't be a crawler with this gearing. I did another test with Duplo bricks at that time. The Extreme Off-Roader was able to climb 2 rows, but failed to beat 3 rows. As you can see, the Audi has no performance issues with 2 rows, but the smaller wheels and lower ground clearance makes it a challenge. At 3 rows, the front is also too low, but we can't say it lacks power to solve the problem. What about the suspension? Here are some Duplo bricks again. Let's go slowly first. Yes, one layer of bricks are still fine. Now let's see how it looks at full throttle. Okay, that's not really a Baja truck performance. Let's see it at half speed. Not bad. Let's see the action in super slow motion as well. Maybe we have too many obstacles. Let's remove some of them. Still jerky, but quite okay. Another potential issue with off-roading is the open differential front and rear. If the wheels on one side lose contact with the ground, it's over and the vehicle can't go any further. Now we are going to do a little test outside. Nothing serious, the weather wasn't really good in the past few days. I will certainly do more tests next time. The performance is okay, not outstanding. It's far from what you would expect from a Dakar rally car, but let's say it's okay for a stock Lego vehicle. So, what shall we think of this set? I don't do this often, but let's make a list of pros and cons because I think there are some aspects we should talk about. Let's start with the positives. The look is great, and I think the designers really nailed it despite the relatively small number of pieces. It has a consistent color scheme, both inside and the outside. It's pretty sturdy, which is crucial for a remote control Lego set. I didn't lose a single piece while testing it. We get a whole bunch of interesting new parts, the wheel hubs, the CV joints, the tires and the recolored rims, a large amount of black panels, 3 motors, a hub. It's an excellent part spec for the price. And yes, we've never had a Control Plus set with 3 motors and a hub under the $200 mark, and this thing should be available in August for about 135 euros. To clarify, that was the original price of this ugly duckling here. Indoor performance is okay, not outstanding, but acceptable. Now let's move on to the negative aspects. First, it's still app controlled. Lego didn't bother to give us a physical remote, which would be essential for a proper RC experience. Yes, we can use the powered up remote with Pi bricks or even with the powered up app. We have brick controller too, but it's not the same. Then, it's definitely slower than it looks, and you can probably get a much faster and more powerful RC car for the same price. It has tons of stickers to apply, which I'm sure some of you won't like. It will also be harder to modify than the Extreme Off-Roader, because with that one it was fairly easy to play with the gearing to have either speed or torque. Here we have 2 gears on the rear axle, but a direct drive on the front axle, so it's not so trivial to change the gearing on both axles. All in all, I'm still happy with this set. It's a great looking, fun RC vehicle and also an excellent parts spec. I will of course be making more videos with it as this was just the beginning. I'm going to try to improve the speed and climbing capabilities and will definitely spend more time outdoors with some of the other competitors. Please let me know what you think of it. What do you think about the look, the new parts, the performance? Let's talk about it in the comment section. If you like this video, then please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe with notifications as more exciting LEGO videos are coming soon. See you next time, bye bye.